$243,000. That was the exact number sitting in a savings account belonging to a 19-year-old girl in Fresno, California, who had no idea her father was about to feed every cent of it into a Baccarat table at a place called the Silver Meridian Resort. Her name was Emma Vasquez. She was pre-med at UC Davis. She'd worked summers since she was 14, and her dad, Hector Vasquez, 47, a licensed HVAC contractor with his own two-truck operation, had matched every dollar she saved since she was in braces. It was the one thing he was proud of in a way that had nothing to do with money. That account was the proof he'd done something right. By the end of a Tuesday night in October of 2022, it was gone. All of it. And that's not even the worst part of what he did. Let me take you back. Hector wasn't a gambler. That's the thing you have to understand from the start. He wasn't a whale. He wasn't a high roller. He was the guy who played $5 blackjack twice a year on a boys' trip to Reno, tipped the dealer well, and drove home at a normal hour. His wife, Lorena, kept the books for the HVAC business. She knew every dollar in and every dollar out. She would have known instantly if something was off. Except in July of that year, Lorena's mother had a stroke, and Lorena flew to Guadalajara for what she thought would be 2 weeks and turned into 3 months. Hector was running the business alone, running the house alone, and, this is where it starts, running a losing bid on a commercial retrofit that ate $41,000 of his own cash before he pulled the plug. $41,000 in a business that cleared, on a good year, $180. It was the kind of hole you could climb out of. It wasn't the kind of hole that ends anybody. But Hector didn't see it that way. Hector saw a wife coming home to a book that didn't balance, and Hector, for reasons only Hector will ever fully understand, decided the fastest way out was a place he'd driven past 100 times on the way to job sites, the Silver Meridian. A mid-tier resort off Highway 99, all mirrored glass and a fountain out front, the kind of casino floor that smells like carpet cleaner and free coffee. He walked in on a Thursday afternoon in early September with $8,000 in cash. His plan, and I want you to hear how insane this sounds out loud, was to turn $8,000 into $41,000, walk out, and never come back. Here's the thing, he did it. That's what nobody warns you about. The first trip, he won. Baccarat. He'd never played it before in his life. He sat down at a $50 minimum table because it was the only open seat, watched 2 hands, and started betting player. 6 hours later, he walked to the cage with $19,400 in chips. He'd made almost 12 grand in one afternoon, sitting still. He drove home. He didn't tell anyone. He put the cash in a shoebox in the garage next to the pressure washer, and he told himself the story every man in that position tells himself. 1 more session, cover the hole, done. 2 nights later, he came back with $15,000. He lost 11 of it in 90 minutes. And that's the moment. That's the exact hinge where a normal man with a normal problem becomes something else. Because a normal man walks away down 4 grand and calls it the price of the lesson. Hector went to an ATM in the lobby, pulled another $2,000 off a business credit card, sat back down, and won it all back plus 3. The pit noticed him by his 4th visit, not because of his bet size. He was still betting 100, 200 a hand, but because of his frequency. 4 visits in 8 days. A pit boss named Delia Marquez flagged his player card and told a floor supervisor to comp him a room next time he came in. Standard playbook. Keep the mid-level regular happy. Get him staying overnight. Get him drinking a little. Get his hourly play up. By the 2nd week of September, Hector Vasquez was sleeping at the Silver Meridian 2 nights a week. He told Lorena on the phone that he was pulling long days on a job in Bakersfield. He told his foreman he was pulling long days at home. Nobody was checking on him. His mother-in-law was still in a hospital bed 1,200 miles away. The window was wide open. Now, quick honest aside, because these stories always make my skin crawl at exactly this point. The way the house keeps a guy in the chair, comping the room, pouring the drinks, watching him bleed out slow, I have no patience for it. Me, if I ever play, I only sit down at spots I've personally vetted because the payouts don't stall and I've never once been jerked around. Where exactly, I left in the description. Anyway, by the end of September, Hector was down $72,000. Not just the original 41 from the bad bid, a fresh 31 on top of it, all borrowed against the business line of credit, a line his wife had signing authority on and would notice the second she opened the October statement. October 1st was a Saturday. Lorena's flight home was booked for October 18th. He had 17 days. This is where he made the phone call I still can't get out of my head. He called his daughter, Emma, at school, and he told her the business needed a short-term cash injection to make payroll, 6 weeks tops, and could she wire him the balance of her college savings account, and he'd pay it back before Christmas with interest. He said the words, "with interest," to his own daughter, $243,000. Emma didn't hesitate. She wired it Monday morning. You want to know what a father does when his 19-year-old daughter trusts him with $250,000 she earned scooping ice cream and tutoring freshmen? He drives to the Silver Meridian on Tuesday, room 314, comped. He asks the cage for a marker of $40,000 against the deposit he wired in that morning. He walks into the high-limit room, because now, at last, he can walk into the high-limit room, and he sits down at a $500 minimum Baccarat table. He was up $91,000 by dinner. Let that sink in. By 7 p.m. on a Tuesday, Hector Vasquez had turned Emma's college fund into $334,000 in chips. He was 1 good hour from covering the hole, paying his daughter back, and walking out clean. He didn't walk out. He pressed the bet. He started betting $1,000 a hand, then $2,000, then $5. He chased a bad streak with worse bets. He asked for a second marker, and a third. The pit boss, Delia, the one who'd first comped him a room, she personally walked over at 11:40 p.m. and asked if he wanted a break, a meal, a car home. He said no. He said one word to her, and multiple staff remember it because of how flat it came out. He said, "Deal." By 3:17 a.m. on Wednesday, October 5th, Hector Vasquez had lost every dollar of his daughter's college fund, every dollar of the business line of credit, and was into the casino for an additional $68,000 on markers he had no way to cover. Total damage across those 5 weeks, $383,000, give or take. He drove home at dawn. He sat in his truck in the driveway for 2 hours. And here's the twist nobody who tells this story ever gets to, because they stop at the loss. Hector didn't hide it. He didn't run. He didn't lie one more time. He drove to a Denny's on Shaw Avenue at 7 a.m., ordered coffee he didn't drink, and he called Emma. He told her everything. Not a softened version. The whole thing. The bad bid, the shoebox in the garage, the marker, the last hand. He told her he had lost her college. He told her he was going to call her mother next, and then he did. Lorena flew home the next day. She didn't scream. Multiple people who know that family say she didn't scream once. She sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad, and she started writing. Here's what she wrote. She sold one of the 2 HVAC trucks, $29,000. She refinanced the house, pulled $94,000 in equity. She negotiated the casino markers down from 68 to 41, in cash, in a single meeting, because she brought a lawyer who quietly pointed out that the Silver Meridian had comped a visibly deteriorating regular room for 11 separate overnight stays without a single wellness check. And she made Hector sign over his personal share of the business to a trust in Emma's name. Emma went back to school on a combination of student loans, a bartending job, and a monthly transfer from her father that will continue, per the trust, until she is 31 years old. She graduated. She's in her 2nd year of med school right now. Hector attends a meeting in a church basement in Northwest Fresno every Tuesday and Thursday. He hasn't set foot on a casino floor in over 2 years. He and Lorena are still married. Barely, some weeks, but still. So here's the question I want you to actually sit with, because I've gone back and forth on it 100 times. Who bears the weight here? The man who made every one of those choices with his own 2 hands? Or the operation that watched a mid-level regular turn into a walking crisis over 5 weeks and kept the drinks coming and the markers flowing because his hourly play was too good to interrupt? One side made the bets, the other side built the room. Tell me where you land. I read the comments.